Here we are inside the Bailey Unicorn Seville. If we firstly move to the entrance door, we will come to the main control panel just here, and we have the master switch just here, so 12 volt off, 12 volt on. Once we've turned the 12 volt on, we can check on the condition of the leisure battery by pressing the voltage button just here. Beside the master switch, we then have the water pump, so water pump off, water pump on. Whenever the pump is running, so if we just turn a tap on, the light will come on to let you know it's in operation. And then beneath this we then have master switch for all of the lights, and then they can all be turned off individually on their own switches. And then we also have awning light on and off just here. If we now move to the front of the caravan and we just remove the cushions, we can then see the Aldi boiler just here. All we really need to know about the Aldi boiler is how to drain it for travel and winterization, and that is all done on this little yellow lever just down here. So to drain it off, firstly we need to make sure that the water pump is turned off, and then once we've done that, we then just need to flick this yellow lever up like so, and it will then drop all of the water out of the boiler. To fill it back up again, flap it back over, connect up your water, turn your water pump on, and then it will start to refill the boiler. I do suggest that when fully draining the caravan down for winterization, once you've drained off the boiler, that you then go around the rest of the caravan and open up all of the taps. That way it will release some of the airlocks in the system. But secondly, if there was a harsh frost, what we hope will happen is as the water freezes, it will be forced out the end of the taps into icicles instead of expanding and splitting the pipes. Next we have the stereo just here, on and off on the source button. We do have USB connectivity just here and auxiliary beneath. CD here, eject here, switch between the source just here, and then switch radio stations, etc. Change tracks just here. If we then hold the source button in again, we can then turn it back off. And then in the overhead locker beside it, we have the television aerial just here. So we have the digital amplifier here, on and off just here, control the gain just here. If you are going to use that external television point just there, this is the end of it. You then need to pick where it is going to go to, whether or not it's going to go to the front coax here or over here. And then we also have the actual television aerial itself. So to use this, just undo the collar and then pop the mast up. The H represents the back of the aerial, so we now know which direction we're facing in. Once we've got it into the position we require, just tighten slightly. You'll see we're on H for horizontal. What we can also do is turn the tail at the bottom and then basically flip from horizontal to vertical for additional tuning. Do make sure though that you are back to horizontal for travel, and then also make sure that when you put the mast down, the little red dot is facing you. And then tighten back up. Do not over tighten the collars because they can split. Next we have the control panel for the Aldi boiler. So if we turn it on just here, firstly we'll get the home screen, so it will let you know if you have main supply connected to the van with a little picture of the 2-pin plug here, and it will give you an internal temperature of the caravan. If I now press the menu button, we will now get its basic functions. So the top one here is the thermostat for the heating, so just literally plus and minus, pick whatever temperature you would like your heating to be within the caravan. Next we have hot water, so we're currently in hot water off, hot water on, hot water on a boost. The boost facility was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other, or if you just want a longer shower. If you do perform this boost and the heating is running, the heating will turn off as it needs the extra power. After that we then have the 2 power sources. So currently the system is not running because we haven't picked one. So this one here with a little lightning strike is mains electricity. So we can run the system on 1 kilowatts, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts, just depending on the ampage of the site that you're on. If we do not have main supply, we can run off gas by highlighting the flame. And if we have both power sources available to us, we can also run the system in dual fuel. This is very handy, especially in the winter months. It will get you up to temperature nice and quickly. If we now press the cog button just here, we will then go into the settings menu. We have a night mode just here, so a night timer. We can turn it on and off just here, set the temperature we would like it to be at night time, and then set when it begins, whether or not it's for all days of the week or individual, and then when it ends. We can also invert the backlight, so this screen goes to black, the writing goes to white, and we can also have it so no hot water is made throughout that period. Beside that we have a picture of a sun, and that is exactly the same again, but just for the day timer. Prioritise is what the system prioritises in using when in dual fuel mode, so it currently favours main supply over gas. So what it will basically do is get you up to temperature, and once it achieves it, it will then cut the gas off and then maintain solely on the electricity. If you are on an extremely low amp site, what you can do is flip it on its head so it consumes more gas, less electric. This one is not used on this model. This next one, obviously if you're using timers, you need to just set the correct time and day of the week. And then if we arrow down, we then have, again, one that's not used on this model. This one here, if you know how many amps the site is that you're on, you can literally pick, and then it doesn't matter whether you're running at 3 kilowatts, it will limit itself to stop you from tripping. Next we have antimicrobial. This one here can only be used if you are using the night mode. So night mode needs to be active, and this needs to be highlighted in green. And then basically about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, the boiler will come on and kill off any bacteria that may be in it. Next we have thermostat offset. So if you don't think the thermostat in here is quite correct, you can just tweak it a few degrees. High altitude mode, so if the caravan is 1,000 meters above sea level, you can activate this so the system works at that different air pressure. Whether or not you want button beeps on or off, instead of having multiple timers, you can just have it so the system fires up at a certain time and day of the week, and then finishes at a certain time, day of the week. After that we then have pump settings. Just leave it set to thermal. That means that the fluid in the radiators will only circulate as and when required. We then have full factory reset, so if there is a problem you can reset the system. External start, again you don't need to worry about it on this model. Language, service, more for the workshop, but it will let you know what everything is up to. And then installed accessories. There is nothing in here that hasn't already been highlighted that you actually require. Next we have the hob. So we have one electric hot plate that will work when you're hooked up to the main supply, and that operates on this one here, and the red light will come on to let you know it's in operation. And then all the rest of them are gas, and that is just literally push in, twist, and then press the igniter just down here. There we go. Beneath that we then have the grill, and again just push in, twist, and press your igniter. And then the oven beneath. The compartment underneath the oven has a plug plugged in, which is for the fridge and for the hot plate. And then we also have the majority of the gas isolation taps in here as well. They are all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say, smell gas in the van, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. It does also tell you what each of the symbols means just here. Beneath the fridge we have the consumer unit. So we have the 3 individual MCBs just here labelled up, and then we have the RCD and the test button just here. So if something's not working on main supply, just come in here first to see whether or not you've tripped. If you haven't tripped in here, you may have tripped to the site end. And then beneath that we have all of the 12 volt fuses just here, and again they're all labelled up, so if something's not working, just check to see whether or not the fuse is blown. If we now open up the fridge freezer, we have the controls just here. So we're currently in the off position. If we now flick across, we're now running on main supply with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. After that we have 12 volt maintain for when we are towing. This will then keep the fridge cold on the move. And then lastly we have gas. If you are going to use the fridge on gas, you need to come across to this side here, come to your temperature control, hold it in, and then what we want is basically this little line here to drift out of the white into the green. There we go. And then as soon as we switch to something else, it will then put itself straight back out again. We have the microwave just here. Please make sure that contents is removed for travel. And this is an eco model, so we do need to hold the eco button in first of all to wake it up. Then we have all the usual 10 minutes, 1 minute, etc. Quick start, stop just here. The microwave is plugged in just up here. If we now come across to the other side, you'll see the regulator for the solar panel. We do not need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the leisure battery as it's required. You'll see we've got a solid green light at the moment, meaning that it's not really required, so it's in float mode. Whenever it's popping a charge into the battery, it will steadily flash. The leisure battery is located beneath this carpet. It's just here. And then to wind down the spare wheel, it's just underneath this little plastic cover just here. And this is what this tool is for here. It just literally hooks in, wind it, and it will come down underneath the caravan. If we now move into the washroom, if we go to the wardrobe, we have a freestanding table in here, and then we also have the header tank for the Aldi heating system. All we need to make sure is that the fluid in here is between the minimum and the maximum. It's always best to take your reading once the heating is up to temperature, as it will expand. If it does need topping up, we can do so just by taking the collar off here, unscrewing the cap, and then adding top up solution. You make sure that you are using the correct Aldi. Then we have the Thetford toilet. So the bowl does move about. We can then open to the cassette just down here, and then push to flush just up here, and then we will get an illumination just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. And then we have the basin and shower just here.